My old college roommate approached our table, wiping damp hands on her jeans like she'd just come back from the bathroom and was in too much of a hurry to use the hand dryer. "Mindy," I said. I was so taken aback that my brain short-circuited, and for a minute, I thought Professor Blanchett must have invited her as some sort of prank. But Mindy had barely set foot in the history department, and Professor Blanchett wasn't the pranking type. Mindy didn't wait for me to stand. She bent over and hugged me right where I sat, but the angle was awkward, encircling my shoulders. Immobilized, unable to really hug her back, I patted the back of her arm with a hand. "It's been so long," she said with a sigh, drawing back. Now that I got a good look at her, I noticed that she'd stopped bleaching her hair, her mushroom brown locks chopped in a wolfish shag that framed her round face. "What are you doing here?" I asked. "At the sandwich shop?" she asked, a little bemused. "I'm meeting Ted for lunch." She said this with so much familiarity, like she expected me to recognize the name, but it still took me a couple seconds to register who she was talking about. I should have been forgiven for not immediately realizing that she was talking about my former best friend on account of two things. First, because he and Mindy had only met a handful of times in passing. He didn't even attend UMD with us. Second, because she called him Ted. "You're meeting Teddy?" I clarified. "Teddy Harrison?" Mindy nodded. "I've been telling him that I wanted to bring him here for weeks, but he hadn't found the time to make the drive down. Oh, sorry, Miranda Schooner," she said, offering a hand to my advisor. Professor Blanchett eyed it like Mindy was offering her a dead fish. "Wait," I said. "You and Teddy, you guys are—" My brows pinched. "Together?" I figured he'd told you." Professor Blanchett sighed theatrically, leaning back in her chair. "He did not," I said stiffly. Interesting that he hadn't told her about our falling out. Maybe they were still in the early stages of, well, whatever they were. "Weird story." She dragged a chair over to our table, metal legs screeching against the tiled floor. I would really rather she didn't, actually, because if Teddy was on his way here— "So," Mindy said, "I was obviously attracted to him from the get-go. I mean, you remember how I asked you all those questions after he helped you move into your dorm, trying to make sure he wasn't your boyfriend or anything?" The bell above the door chimed, and I stiffened. I didn't think I was capable of saying anything at the moment, so I gave a tiny nod of confirmation. Yes, I remembered. "And then last year, I was having this conversation with my friend where we were talking, like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take." Teddy was making his way over to the table. He didn't seem to have registered who his girlfriend was talking to. There was a rising feeling in my chest, something burning its way up my throat like it was looking for a way out. Panic, or maybe bile. And I was like, damn, that's real. Because there was this guy that I met a couple times back in college who I was super attracted to, but I never had the balls to just go for it. But then I remembered that I added you. She pointed at me, and it felt very accusatory, like I was a suspect in a lineup, on Facebook. And I was like, she has to have him on her friends list. They were best friends, right? So I looked, and there he was. She glanced up at him warmly, and he snaked an arm around her back, bending to plant a kiss on her cheek. Bile. It was definitely bile in my throat. I gave them a close-lipped smile. "How sweet." At the sound of my voice, Teddy did an almost imperceptible double-take, his eyes widening when he finally registered who was sitting at the table. His lips parted in surprise, but neither of us said anything. It had been 3 years since we last spoke, and longer still since the last time I saw him. He'd grown his hair back out, loose brown curls that looked like he'd just finished running a hand through them, and I found a small